It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Citi Prime News, live from our studio at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Ajwatin Krama Domina. This afternoon, I'm here with
Wilma Obobisa Coleman.
Coming up, some religious leaders to petition Parliament to halt Ghana's lithium deal with Barari DV Ghana Limited.
We cannot, as a nation, sit down and let this also go down the drain and let people take it away for us to suffer.
Also coming up, Parliament resumes amendment on the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, also known as the Anti-Gay Bill.
Creating an offense, we shouldn't be having ambiguities and subjectivities. That's why the proposal is that we delete the entire clause.
Still ahead, Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools appeals to government to release funds for the running of schools.
I know every region is complaining of some food items and all that. And as for money issues, we have been talking about it. And looks as if there's a problem with cash flow to our schools.
And later, government assures of steps to sanitize the country's media space following reports of unethical content. The news is also live on all our partner stations across the country. In the Upper West region, we are on Tumpani Radio 88.5, in Nadoli, Jirapa 96.1 FM. In the Upper East region, we are on Recast 92.1 FM, Bongo Namo. In the Northern region, we are on North Star Radio 92.1 in Tamale. In the Northeast region, you can hear us on Nobia FM 98.1 FM. In the Western region, find us on Beach 105.5 FM in Takrade. In the Ashanti region, Focus 94.3 FM and Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, you can find us on Sela Radio 97.1 FM, Holy FM 98.5, and in the Savannah region, find us on Kasha 99.5 FM in Damongo.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
We are grateful you could join us. We begin with education, and the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, CHAS, is calling on the Ghana Education Service and the Education Ministry to, as a matter of urgency, supply senior high schools with the needed funds to help in the running of their affairs. CHAS is also urging the authorities to supply various schools with adequate furniture to prevent shortages when both third-year and first-year students resume on January 3, 2024. National President of CHAS, Reverend Father Stephen Owusu-Setre, speaking to Citi News, said there is shortage of food in schools as government has not released funds. He thus described as problematic the situation and called for the flow of cash to the various schools.
Yeah, talking about food, and I just had a conversation with the minister because money had not come. Okay, and yesterday when you had a meeting, some regions, every region is complaining of some food items and all that. And as for money issues, we have been talking about it. Even at our conference, as president, I spoke about that extensively. And looks as if there's a problem with cash flow to our schools. I just spoke with the minister about the money issues. And he tells me that today they are working on the disbursement of money to our schools, and it's working on furniture and all that. I only hope and pray that this thing will come very soon because we need the money to take care of the students who are in school. And also we need furniture. And right now, only the Form 1s, the freshmen are in school. So you have a place for them to sit and sleep. But when on the 3rd of January, the rest come to our schools, especially those who are using the transition calendar. We have issues in our schools. So, and then he tells me we've started distributing some furniture to our schools. So we are waiting. I personally need one in my school, Pukua School. So I need beds, bunk beds. I need tables and chairs and all that. So I'm waiting for to also arrive in my schools. And I will believe that the certain things are going on. So as CHAS president, I've not seen that yet. So I'm using this meeting also to let the minister know that we are waiting for the furniture, we are waiting for the money, we are waiting for everything that he has promised he's going to bring to us.
National President of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, Reverend Father Stephen Owusu-Setre speaking.
Now, the Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah is refuting allegations that the government has neglected hospital projects in the region. He insists that the projects, including those inherited from the previous administration, are at various stages of completion, while others are operational. The Ashanti region has a total of 32 hospital projects, which are either ongoing, completed, or in use. However, the current administration has come under pressure for not completing the major ones on time. Speaking during a meeting with Metropolitan, Municipal, and District Chief Executives in the region, Mr. Osei-Mensah said the major facilities, including Agenda 111 project, will be completed by 2024.
All along, people were saying that the government has abandoned hospital projects in the region. But as I showed you, none of them has been abandoned. And most of them have been commissioned and are in use. And the few ones that have not been commissioned are also over 95% complete. So we are likely to complete all these ones. And even take the VAMED projects. You see, all of them, none of them is below 90%. So hopefully, by the end of the first quarter, all these projects will be commissioned. You saw some of the Agenda 111 projects too. Some of them have not even started. 3 of them, Sokori Mampong, KMA, and Obuasi East. They have not started. They had challenges with access to land. The rest, some of them are around 85%, 80, we have 70. But I'm sure, minimum, even though the health sector people are saying we will commission more than 6, but I want to stick to 6. Those that are 60% plus or 70% plus, these are the ones I'm very sure I can see that they will be completed. But if we are able to complete more than the 6, it's okay. So at the end of it, or if we are able to complete about 25 out of the 32 projects, I think it's an excellent performance because no government can complete all the projects that it initiates during the government's term.
You heard the Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah. Meanwhile, Ashanti Regional Director of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Emmanuel Tinkrang, says facilities within Greater Kumasi upon completion will be converted into specialist hospitals to ease pressure on the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital.
We have 32 hospital projects that either we started, is ongoing, or completed and used in Ashanti region. The challenge with Ashanti region is that in terms of population, and then population distribution, and then disease pattern is so equal to Greater Accra. But when you go to Greater Accra region, there are so many facilities that when you have crisis, you will go. But when you come to Kumasi, the challenge is that it's only Komfo-Anokye. And Komfo-Anokye is a teaching hospital, and it's a tertiary hospital. So you have to move at all levels. So you have to get a primary care and a secondary care before a tertiary care. But here we don't have the secondary care. So everybody is moving to Komfo-Anokye, and that has constrained the hospital and increasing workload. And anytime you increase the workload, the quality of care will go down because it's constrained. So the strategy is that we need to have more of these hospitals and then upgrade them to a secondary level so it will cushion the problem of Komfo-Anokye. So we are training specialists, and all the hospitals that we've finished, we've tried to put specialists in these hospitals. So now when you go to Fomina, for instance, we have a surgeon, we have a physician specialist, we have obstetrician and gynecologist, and then dentist. So anytime we open some of these hospitals, immediately we will convert them into specialist hospitals so as to reduce the referrals that's going to Komfo-Anokye and then the other challenges that we have.
Dr. Emmanuel Tinkrang is the Ashanti Regional Director of the Ghana Health Service.
From the Ashanti region, let's move to the Bunu region, where Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has been indicating that the government will continue to use innovative ways to create jobs in the country for the teeming unemployed youth. Dr. Bawumia disclosed this in Sunyani during the launch of the Youth Employment Agency's Business and Employment Assistance Program, supporting small and medium enterprises. The program is expected to support 10,000 small and medium enterprises that will subsequently employ about 20,000 youth across the country.
You will all remember that at the time we came into office, unemployment was a real major problem. We even had a graduate unemployment association at that time. So our focus over these last 7 years has been to look at different ways to recruit more people, both by the private sector and the public sector. What I can say in all humility and with all the hard data is that what the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has been able to do in terms of recruiting people in this economy, both by the public sector and the private sector, has not been done by any other government since the independence of this country. We have recruited in the public sector and the private sector a total of 2.1 million people in the last 7 years. So our focus on employment is very, very much on course, and we are making progress. However, we still have a large amount of youth unemployment. That is the reality we face.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Away from that, the Ghana Toll Workers Union is advising the government to avoid selective reassignment of toll workers who lost their jobs following the discontinuation of toll collection. Their call comes after the launch of the Business and Employment Assistance Program of the Youth Employment Agency, where it was announced that the government will, by the end of 2024, reassign former toll workers. The General Secretary of the Ghana Toll Workers Union, Edward Duncan, while welcoming the development, said the government should not solely focus on disabled toll workers, neglecting abled workers.
Yes, it's a welcome news. Like it's welcome. Anything that is geared at supporting us from the fall of this closure of tolls is welcome. But what we are asking the government, or we are cautioning them, is that they shouldn't be selective in reassigning us. They shouldn't be selective. It shouldn't be that a section will not be reassigned and a section will be reassigned, because we all suffered from this closure of tolls. So it shouldn't be that because you are able, the government is going to discriminate against you and say, because you are able, I will not give you any support, or I will not fulfill my promise that I made to you. So the government should be cautious of this. And we wish that they will engage us, because they know us. We know, the union, the leadership of the union. We've had meetings with the Honorable Minister for Roads and Highways on several occasions. We've had the opportunity to meet with members of parliament. We've had the opportunity to meet with Ghana Highway Authority CEOs and the chief directors and all. So all of them know and recognize us, that we are a union.
That was General Secretary of the Ghana Toll Workers Union, Edward Duncan.
We'll take you to Parliament, where it has resumed the clause-by-clause amendment of the bill on the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values, also known as the Anti-Gay Bill. The House on Friday took the bill through the consideration stage after the sponsors accused the Majority Caucus of a deliberate attempt to frustrate its passage. Here are excerpts of proceedings from Parliament on the consideration of the Anti-Gay Bill.
The response that the Attorney General gave on this clause, and I quote verbatim, Clause 4, prohibition against undermining proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values. Though this clause creates an offense relating to undermining proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values, what constitutes, quote, undermine, end of quotation, is not defined, and therefore the basis of the offense cannot be determined. Mr. Speaker, this is the advice that the learned Attorney General gave to the committee, and the entire committee agreed on this advice. And that's why we agreed, as had been said by Rankin, that it was too much of subjectivity, and therefore we need to, and ambiguities, and that is why we are proposing that in deleting and in creating an offense, we shouldn't be having ambiguities and subjectivities. And that's why the proposal is that we delete the entire clause.
Instigate, command. So we can still tidy up 4.1a. A person shall not engage in conduct. Because if you read Article 39 well, Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I quote, Article 39.1, subject to clause 2 of this article, the state shall take steps to encourage the integration of appropriate customary values into the fabric of national life. So now we want to go into conduct so that a person shall not engage in a conduct that undermines the proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values. That will sit with 39 and still satisfy him with his quest that under Article 39. So that what makes us Ghanaian is what Article 4 will seek to do. Appropriate. That this conduct, in our view as Ghanaians, is inappropriate, will be defined by us. So instead of just leaving the word undermine to stand alone, it should be a person shall not engage in conduct. Then we've now defined that it is conduct that we are targeting.
You heard excerpts of proceedings from Parliament on the consideration of the anti-gay bill.
Moving on, the Ghana Association of University Administrators is calling on the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission (GTEC) to halt the implementation of office-holding allowances in public universities. The association argues that the scheme has caused some of its members to lose their allowances as the process is fraught with discrimination, arbitrariness, and unfair labor practices. Speaking to Citi News on the matter, Secretary of the association Richard Afriye said they will them back on a strike if their concerns are not addressed.
This is how to be with all these like the person enjoying. But trying to really take it out of it from the person it's not acceptable. And this is what he said, Gather is doing, Gather what's Gather take even the lesson that you already enjoyed from us. So if you don't work out for the Ghanaian public to hear what's going on, people, you'll just take it from that. And so after careful consideration, after long deliberation, we realized it's time that we made our voices heard by the public or the government so that they put GTEC in check. They have to until we are able to come out of this dark, this situation that we find ourselves. But just to know, this is our present situation in Ghana. Nobody can tell you here that look until the economic conditions that we find ourselves. Everything is being made worse of. People's conditions and lives are being made worse of. And if the elections of the people are on, and these things are from them, how do we expect them to survive? And we feel it's not right.
Richard Afriye is the Secretary of the Ghana Association of University Administrators.
Now, Minister for Information Kojo Nkrumah says the National Communications Authority, NCA, and the National Media Commission, NMC, are working to sanitize the media landscape without infringing on the freedom of expression of any media outlet. A joint media monitoring from the NCA and NMC for the second half of November showed an increase in unethical and offensive content with 12 repeat offenders. Speaking on the Citi Breakfast Show, Kojo Nkrumah detailed the approach of the NMC and NCA in regulating media content without clamping down on targets.
Last time the NCA on their own tried to enforce their regulations, it was interpreted by the market and international bodies and as an attempt to oppress media. There were media houses that had refused to renew their frequency authorizations, hadn't paid their license fees for so many years. When the NCA acted in accordance with the law, it was interpreted as an attempt to clamp down on media. The NMC and the NCA are trying to avoid the same scenario by ensuring that as they are receiving these reports, they are publishing. And they are telling you who is a repeat offender, and they are telling you the kind of offenses. They have actually captured the evidence as the reports come in. So when people make reports, they capture, and then when they sit at the adjudication panel, they can then say, 9 a.m. Tuesday morning, this date, this is what you were showing. This is our determination that you are in breach. What sayest thou? If you have a response that makes sense, put it forward. If you don't, Is it an administrative penalty they are going to exact on you? Are you a repeat offender that they are going to then recommend to the NCA? This media house is a repeat offender and has refused consistently to comply with the standards. And therefore, we are issuing a notice for the suspension of the frequency that you have given them. Then the NCA will now use the Electronic Communications Act and the regulations therein to then trigger a suspension or maybe even a withdrawal of the authorization that they have given. If we don't do it this way, tomorrow some politician or some government or some minister who wants to use it to clamp down on somebody who he doesn't like can then use the precedent, that arbitrary precedent.
You heard Kojopo Nkrumah and his Minister for Information. Meanwhile, the Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission, NMC, George Sapon, says it is ready to work with the 12 media houses engaged in repeated unethical and unlawful content if they show remorse. He spoke on the Citi Business Breakfast Show, I beg your pardon.
Get around all these things within the law in order to make sure that the airwaves are safe for everybody.
So these people, in these 12 that you have cited for repeat offense, which you are saying they've given their last warning, you said you may, you used the word may, and I was quite dismayed. What do you mean you may sanction them? Because you clearly stated that they have shown unethical and unlawful content. So why is it may and not will?
It seems to me that I like your dismay, and I think that is where most of us should sit. But if you're a public body, you need a very expansive, let me use the metaphor, heart in dealing with errant people, knowing that even the most errant will still sometimes, if they have big ego, argue that they have the constitutional right to do what is wrong. And so when we say make, it is only to offer a leeway about what are the possibilities within the circumstances. If any one of them showed remorse now, it would seem to me that we would be ready to work with them towards a better future without necessarily issuing some regulatory sanctions.
George Sapon is Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. My name is Ajua Tinkrama Domna, and I'm here with Wilma Obobisa Coleman. When we return, we'll tell you about plans by some religious leaders who want to petition Parliament to halt Ghana's lithium deal with Barari DV Ghana Limited. Stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Ajwapa, what's all this condom business? Oh, I've told her over and over again that she won't get pregnant, and she's still insisting. Oh, isn't she the same person who said we would not have sex till we go out for at least 2 years? For all this time? Oh, and she still can't trust me enough? Ama, when I try to do something small, no, condom this, condom that. So handsome man like me, she probably thinks I have HIV.
Using a condom will protect you and your partner. Condoms are effective for protection against a wide spectrum of STIs and HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission.
About to a brandy, gonna cut to a bunny pew. Easy about to a brandy, don't come cut to a bunny pew. Oh, yo, mamba, sorry, cut to a bunny pew. Easy, won't I say, gonna cut to a bunny. Every so say, I cut to a bunny, but my battle. Assembly many unit committee members to a bamane. I ain't young puntu you to a bamane. December 19th, please prepare yourself to go out there and cast your vote. Oh, Mamba Papa, 19th December, Fellow so cop me your brain. About 200 no, a bumble for your pepper sapasa. Yeah, who voters ID card, put to your coffee, a bottle to my wapa. I can camera no, so yo mamba pa, got to a banubio. I'm back to a menu, gonna cut to a banubio. Easy about to a menu, don't come cut to a banubio. We yo mamba pa, sorry cut to a banubio. Easy boy won't say, gonna cut to a banubio.
district assembly elections. Please go and cast your vote.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
And you're welcome back. Some religious leaders in the country plan to petition Parliament to halt Ghana's lithium agreement with Barari DV Ghana Limited. Pressure has been mounting on the government to reconsider the lithium deal following reports that Ghana is being shortchanged. At a roundtable discussion at the Institute of Economic Affairs, the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church of Ghana, Reverend Paul Boafo, and spokesperson of the National Chief Imam Sheikh Aremeyao said the current deal is not the best for the country and must be renegotiated.
The mineral resources of our country doesn't belong to us alone, but it belongs to the children unborn. Even as at that time, this point was made. Once the mineral resources of our country are supposed to be kept in trust, those who manage it do not own it. That's what it means. They are accountable to the largest strata of the society. And for them to engage in any contract, there must be a certain engagement where the people are satisfied.
We cannot, as a nation, sit down and let this also go down the drain and let people take it away for us to suffer, our people to suffer. I think that what we ought to do is to take this agreement, look at it critically, come out with what we would need. Just as a friend said, the 100% should be on the table. That this is what Ghanaians need. And then when we are looking at it, it should inure to the benefits of Ghanaians.
You heard first the spokesperson of the National Chief Imam Sheikh Aremeyao and the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church of Ghana, Reverend Paul Boafo.
Now, development economist with the Center for Social Policy Studies, Dr. George Domfe, has urged commercial banks to shift focus from government securities and lend much-needed resources to the private sector. Commercial banks were heavily impacted by the domestic debt exchange program, which was implemented last year as the government worked to reduce Ghana's debt obligations. In an interview with Citi News, Dr. Domfe says banks should no longer consider government securities as risk-free and work with the private sector to ensure profitability for business.
Since the banking sector cleaned up, the banks are doing far better. And it's the only reason why their profitability ratio had slowed or had gone down is because of the domestic debt exchange. And to me, we started the exercise last year. So by this time, they should be finding other ways to live with it, because the banks is not only selling or buying or trading with government bonds that will help you stay afloat. As a bank, you have to look up for so many ways or avenues of getting profit. I always maintain that even always buying government bonds wasn't the best way, because the moment you did that, it was leading to crowding out effect. Government, anybody who has any money with government will never lose it. And so people are always very comfortable having monies with government. And so if you did that, you were denying people, the entrepreneurs, that space to also have access to the same money that you would have given to government. And so when things like this happen, I'm sure this is when the banks should begin to look and work with entrepreneurs, give people money, get them to do good businesses with their money, and they would, pay back to sustain the businesses of the banks. And so this is where we have to go. And when that happens, it also helps with productivity.
Dr. George Domfe is development economist with the Center for Social Policy Studies.
Away from that, the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has revealed that its decision to label fuel stations based on their octane grade has become necessary following recent concerns about the quality of petrol being sold at the pumps. The move is also to ensure vehicle owners purchase the right fuel for their cars. Here's Communications Manager at the NPA, Mohammed Kudus, giving more insights into the reason behind their decision.
Practically, this is about labeling the pumps. So what we currently have is the colors that indicates a diesel or a gas oil. So when you go to buy from the fuel station, when the nozzle is picked is red, you know that it is gasoline or petrol. When the nozzle is picked is blue, then you know that it is gas oil or diesel. We're taking it a notch higher now to then also indicate the quality of the fuel. Vehicles today are supposed to be manufactured to a particular spec of a fuel. So if you go and buy a lesser spec for a high-performing vehicle, the possibility is that you would have problems with your car. Okay. And so we want to help vehicle owners to know that this is the spec of this fuel, and for that matter, you'll be able to make a choice as to which one you should be buying. Okay. So when you pick the nozzle of the fuel, you would see boldly and illegibly written on it RON 91 or RON 95. So depending on your vehicle and your choice, you would know you are supposed to buy RON 91 or RON 95. Because we've realized that a lot of the confusion today in the system and the complaint people are coming out with is as a result of buying fuel that is not tailored for the kind of car they are driving.
Mohammed Kudus is the communications manager at the National Petroleum Authority.
Now away from that and to education, because the sector minister, Dr. Yaosei Educhum, has emphasized President Akufo-Addo's unparalleled commitment to education, showcasing a remarkable record of systematic improvement since 2017. He asserted that the current administration's educational performance over the past 6 years surpasses that of early administrations in the last 14 years. Delivering the keynote address at the 5th section of the 15th Congregation of the University of Professional Studies in Accra, Dr. Yaosei Educhum highlighted the government's commitment to transforming the landscape of public education in the country.
And now we have moved from transforming secondary education to the transformation of public education as a whole. New schools have been built across the country, and it's not true that this government has not invested in basic education. In Accra, if you go down in East Legon, from where the OIC is, where the TVET headquarters, Jan building is going up, a 5-story building, which the president cut a sword for about 6 months ago. It's going to be the finest public school you can find anywhere in the world. We have to transform the face of public education. We know we have free, compulsory, universal basic education, but for 30% of Ghanaians, there's no F-cube, because what we give in terms of public education, that is free, you've walked away from it. But I can assure you, in about 3 months from now, I meet some of you standing in front of a public school trying to check in your grandchildren because they are so nice. The era where public schools were defined as rectangular shaped buildings painted brown and yellow, where the students wear brown and yellow uniforms is going to be a thing of the past. And this is not a political promise, already being done.
You heard the Minister of Education, Dr. Yaosei Educhum.
Let's say a while longer on education, because the 4 head teachers in the Ashanti region who were expected to meet the disciplinary committee set up by the Ghana Education Service were unable to do so, as the committee is still being constituted. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, Charles Zakaria Suleiman Yeboah, speaking to Citi News, said he's optimistic that the 4 individuals will appear before the committee on Wednesday. Mr. Suleiman Yeboah has, however, reiterated Charles's call for various headmasters to strictly stick to the rules of the Ghana Education Service to avoid sanctions.
Currently, we are just waiting for the regional director to constitute the committee, and then as Charles body, we have been asked to bring a rep or myself, so that the committee can be okay. Currently, we are just waiting for the final committee members, and I wish and pray that by tomorrow morning they will start their sitting, and 4 of our members will start to face the committee.
Are you satisfied with the arrangements being made so far?
Oh yeah, I think we are very, very satisfied. The only thing is that we've not started yet. We don't know the motive of other committee members. But when we start, you will get to know if there is something behind. But for now, I think we are okay.
So for now, do you have a framework as to how long this whole disciplinary action or the process will take?
Yeah, thank you. We don't have a framework, but per GS standard, mostly is, I think, 2 weeks. But looking at the issues, I can say that it wouldn't get to even 2 weeks. So there are only 7, and then 4 meeting tomorrow, and the other 3 the next day. I believe that by next week, their recommendations should go to the headquarters for them to also, make their final decision.
Well, is there any other thing you'd like to add, perhaps an advice or any information you'd like to give?
The only thing that I can say is that the region is now calm after meeting the regional director yesterday. We will still ask our members to, do the admissions according to the set rules, and then they should be careful not to, charge any fees that are unapproved. And if they are confused as to what to do, they are at liberty to go and meet our regional director to discuss the issue. They can as well call me for us to discuss the issue. So, but they should remain calm, and I think everything is under control now.
Ashanti Regional Chairman of CHASC, Zakaria Suleiman Iyeboa. Let's do some politics now. And political parties have pledged to make the 2024 election focused on issues and ideas. According to them, the 2024 polls will be fought on ideas. Now, with about a year to the election 2024, Citi News' Hansen Ajiman engages stakeholders on their preparations ahead of the polls.
The 2024 election is expected to be a fierce one, as the two leading political parties are confident of victory. Between this period and the day of the polls, particularly in 2024, a number of political activities are expected to take over media conversations. One of the major activities will be the selection of a running mate for the various candidates. Will the NDC maintain its 2020 candidate, and if not, what factors will be considered?
Expect a good partner to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Expect a selection that will have the backing of the party, the backing of Council of Elders, and a selection that will balance the conversation of representation, taking into account regional representation, taking into account gender representation, taking into account the credibility of who the running mate will be, to be able to give the president a helping hand in terms of fulfilling the very difficult task of rebuilding our economy.
Their counterpart in the NPP has given its flag bearer more time to select his running mate. The party's constitution mandated Dr. Baumia to select his running mate a year to polls, but in line with Article 13(2)(b), that requirement has been waived. What then is the tentative schedule for the selection of the running mate?
We had to exercise a constitutional duty by National Council to extend time for His Excellency, the Vice President, who is the flag bearer of our party, to dispense of the activity of making sure that he gets a running mate. He has been given time because he has asked for time because of the circumstances that prevails today, because he had just been elected barely a month ago. He's still doing further consultation. National Council saw wisdom to grant him that particular time.
It is anticipated that smaller political parties or groups may make a great showing in the 2024 polls as well. The news team engaged two of the groups, Ghana Union Movement, led by Christian Kwabena Andrews, and Movement of Change, led by Alan Kojocho Martin, on their running mate options.
Didn't add anything up, so we are going to bring in another running mate. Definitely, I'm praying that I will get somebody that Ghanaians are going to support the idea, and so that you're not going to do anything anyhow. Are you looking at regional balance or gender balance? We're going to look at both
at very opportune times. Right, the decision will be made, the person will be outdoors, and all will know. What you can trust is that the person will be a young person, as the Honorable has committed himself to, and that person would be someone with integrity. That person would be someone who, in his young life, has a proven track record of delivery and performance.
The NPP in 2024 will be seeking to create the record of being the first party in the Fourth Republic to have governed consecutively for more than 2 terms. The party says it has thus put in place a series of strategies to realize the Break the Eight agenda.
We have taken the necessary steps to make sure that we get a good candidate, and that is why on the 4th of November, we elected His Excellency the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, very competent personality that is very innovative, excellent on his job, to lead us to the 2024 general elections. We have also gone ahead to elect our parliamentary candidate for the orphan constituencies, and we'll be conducting same for the sitting members of parliament. So at this point in time, the MPP is very ready for the December 7th, 2024 general elections, and we have made a lot of preparations towards that.
But the National Democratic Congress, who are seeking to replace the NPP, says Ghanaians are not willing to give up their pattern of voting.
The NDC is hopeful of being the next government on a number of factors. One, the wind of change is blowing. Ghanaians are not prepared to break the 8-year cycle, particularly when nothing have changed and nothing have been added. All that have been added so far is corruption and stealing.
But the movement for change, led by former Trades and Industry Minister, says it is breaking the duopoly.
The evidence on ground suggests that he is indeed a dominant figure in Ghanaian politics. That dominance continues to follow him. About people are listening to him, they've heard his message, it resonates with them, and many more are coming up, but particularly young people who want their country better and who want a leadership that is grounded on integrity. To that end, I think I would say that he is an option to the duopoly, which makes him the second choice on the ballot going into 2024.
Leader of the Ghana Union Movement, who came in third in the 2020 polls, is hopeful that he will improve on his performance in the 2024 polls.
At the end of time, I'll be going the step because I was just there. I'm not a politician, as you know. I just stepped in. I gathered this even 100,000. I think it's enough for me to begin from there because they are the parties that they have been in the system for more than about 30, 40 years. So if you step in 1 year, they were able to gather 100. I think you start from somewhere and definitely you are going to reach somewhere. So God can turn the heart of Ghanaians one day and they will decide to vote for Gum.
Without a shred of doubt, the state of the economy and the strategy towards revitalizing same will be a key determinant for voters. The National Democratic Congress says their candidate John Mahama is the best leader for the country at this crucial time.
And we are dealing with an opposition that says, I want to run a 24-hour economy. I want to have a policy that will help Ghanaians consciously run business 24 hours. I want to come and execute what we call the big push. To be able to complete, government focusing on completing all our outstanding government projects.
Equally, Alan Chematin's movement for change says its agenda for industrialization anchored by the Ghana Transformational Program is a solution to Ghana's economic challenges.
You know, the old model of go and borrow, come most often mismanage it in an attempt to build infrastructure that leaves the country drowning in debt. It's a way that is not sustainable. The Honorable is proposing a move away from that, to have private sector come in. The money is with the private sector. They go and source the funding with government facilitating that arrangement.
But the MPP, who has been heavily criticized, says Ghanaians will in 2024 be made to appreciate better the performance of the party despite the challenges.
We have recruited many more youth than any other government in the history of this country. So every sector has been touched by us, and social media, we are on it, we are working on it, but there is a lot of misinformation out there.
How do you tackle this misinformation going to 2024?
What we seek to do is to make sure that we provide the right information to counter this particular misinformation.
That was a report filed by Citi News' Hansen Ajiman.
We'll stay a little while longer on politics because a group of supporters of Asin North Member of Parliament Kennedy Ejapong is urging him to contest the 2024 presidential election as an independent candidate. The legislator lost the New Patriotic Party flag bearership bid to Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia in the party's keenly contested November 4 presidential primary. Addressing a news conference in Accra today, chairman of the group, Kwabena Yankee, said their call is hinged on Mr. Ejapong's contribution to the country's economic growth over the years.
We are compelled to advocate for a prosperous Ghana while we urge our father, Kennedy Ejapong, to stand as independent candidate for a massive win 2024. Yes. Kennedy Ejapong, renowned for his unspoken nature, unwavering love, and competed with Ghana's development, has demonstrated his dedication through actions. He has spearheaded intentions resulting in the establishment of companies that employ 7,000 workers. Notably, his initiative in building a state-of-the-art cardio hospital, an investment surpassed $7 million, underscore the commitment to the well-being of Ghana.
Kwabena Yankee is chairman of the organized supporters of Kennedy Ejapong.
This is still the Citi Prime news. Still ahead in the bulletin, Ghana National Fire Service in the Eastern region identifies overaged wires and leakages as major causes of domestic fires. We'll tell you more shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally.
Hi, my name is Stephen Appiah, the team coordinator of the Black Stars. I always like to keep hydrated naturally, every day, any day. S Natural Mineral Water does the trick.
Manufactured through a double purification process to produce pure, natural drinking water. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural. For bulk purchase, call 0596 273 546 or 0596 273 547. This advert is FDA approved.
So much goes on in the news cycle that can leave you rather overwhelmed. At the tail end of a busy working day, as you're heading home, it's time to update you on the biggest stories thus far, giving you a perspective from the real newsmakers. Eyewitness News gives you nothing but clarity and authenticity. Catch Eyewitness News at 5:30 p.m. daily from Monday to Friday, only on 97.3 Citi FM.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, former Medina MP Alhaji Boniface Abubakar Sadiq has denied reports he intends to contest the Medina seat in the 2024 election on the ticket of the Movement of Change, the new political force established by Alan Chemating. Alhaji Boniface Abubakar Sadiq, who is a prominent member of the Movement for Change, says pictures circulating on social media of him contesting the Medina seat are untrue and should be disregarded.
Unfortunately, it's not true. Look at that picture and see me today. We don't resemble because that picture is something I used somewhere in 2016. And today we are in 2023 going 2024. Why should I use an old picture? Am I a fraudster for such a thing? People did it out of mischief. I'm not interested. I have paid my dues. Anybody who knows Sadiq knows what I've done for this country, done for my constituents. I have served two strong constituencies in this country. I'm the second person to have become an MP in 2 different regions. So what do I need again? I have served in 7 ministries as a minister, 5 as sits as a substantive minister. So why? So it's not true. All that I'm interested in is to make Alan the president of this country. I'm not interested in any portfolio. That is why I was attracted to Alan. I know Alan personally. I have known Alan since 1997. 87 rather. I was in Ministry of Finance. If you check, I didn't just jump into politics. I worked with Ministry of Finance for 14 good years. It is not that I'm in politics because of position. I have served, and anybody who knows Sadiq knows that any position I occupied, I excel. So I'm okay with that. All I know is that I know Alan is credible. He has the integrity. He's a man of competence.
Boniface Abubakar Sadiq is former Medina MP. Now, the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA, says it is awaiting a court directive on its suit against the Communications Ministry on the mandatory payment of some fees and the closure of some stations. According to GIBA, they deem the mandate and process used in collections of fees as illegal. This development comes on the back of threats by Communications Minister Eslo Usuekufu to have television signals to homes and offices shut down from next year if broadcasters decline to pay for the usage of the digital terrestrial television DTT platform. Speaking to Citi News, President of GIBA Cecil Sunkwa Mills says the outcome of the court decision will help streamline activities that will include benefiting rates to be paid by members.
This year, when we wrote our last letter and complaint, the select committee invited GIBA to a meeting of which the minister was part. And we had a long deliberation on fees. Fees and rates were part of the deliberations, including a closure of some station on this. And that was not specifically related to that. But we spoke a lot about the mandate and then the process used in fixing these charges. So that meeting there was supposed to be a follow-up meeting after we had that meeting with the parliamentarians and the minister. And only to our surprise, the next day, invoices were issued out to the stations that were on the platform of apparently a discounted amount of $10,000 a month was issued out to the stations. So under those circumstances, we sought advice and we actually went to the court to have this action interpreted. If fees could be fixed arbitrarily by the ministry on its own without use of the appropriate act which is supposed to be doing this. So basically for us, this is where we are, and we want that interpretation by the court. Definitely. That would actually help to streamline activities in which will include the fixing of rates and fees and even leading to even closure of stations.
And on the latest report by the National Media Commission and the National Communications Authority on some media houses churning out unethical and unlawful media content, Mr. Sunkwa Mills said GIBA will not relent on its monitoring to ensure they comply with the NMC's directive.
It's not all stations that are members of GIBA. So there are a number of stations that are not members. So we haven't cited any specific members yet that have been on that platform involved in that. Those are members. Because we have a code of conduct and ethics for our members to do their operations. So they are guided by it. However, about a month ago, we were part of a consortium that launched this exercise. Ourselves, GIBA, DJ, Primpa, together supported the NMC and the NCA in specifically launching this exercise where we were monitoring, where we were going to monitor this. Remember that GIBA and all the other members we have mentioned, we have representation in the NMC, and there's a process of how infractions of on content is dealt with by the NMC. They have a disciplinary procedure that they have to deal with. So in conversation with the NMC previously, they have said that they're going to update us on when that process is going to happen. So I believe that process should take place, and it will let us know the kind of recommendations that will come through and how they will be implemented. So,
that was President of the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, Cecil Sunkwa Mills. Wilma will bring us some more stories.
Now, an International Central Gospel Church and a school in Dunkwa on Ofin have been razed by fire. The fire started at the school and spread to the church premises. In an interview with Citi News, an eyewitness, Samuel Kankam, said a member of the National Fire Ghana National Fire Service, in an attempt to control the fire, was injured and rushed to the hospital. He says some items and valuables were, however, salvaged.
So when I went there, it was exactly, let's say, 8 o'clock. But according to those standing there, they said that it happened around 7:30. So when we just went there, the fire had just started. So from there, I was trying to just go inside and help them bring the things out. So with my sister, just went inside and bring some of the TVs and the chairs from outside, about able to bring some of them out. It was left with one or two things that it was just consumed by the fire. Yeah, one of the fire services just got hit, but I don't know what has happened now. One of the things, the way the building is a story building, but the top were made with wood and the down were just made with blocks. So from the top there, that was what, due to the intensity of the fire, it just goes down. And I just saw on some of the fire service. But I just called one of our residents to say that they are trying now.
Samuel Kankam is an eyewitness to a fire that razed a branch of the International Central Gospel Church in Dunkonofing and a school there.
Still on fire, the Ghana National Fire Service in the Eastern region has identified the proliferation of substandard gas cylinders on the market over aged wires and leakages as a major causes of domestic fires recorded in the New Jabin South municipality. According to the command, about 57 domestic fire outbreaks recorded between January this year and December could have been avoided if homeowners had taken pragmatic fire safety precautions. In an interview on the sidelines of a training workshop for hoteliers and fuel station attendants in Koforidua, the New Jabin South Municipal Fire Commander DO2 Aite Brown Okwe indicated that homes beyond 25 years should be rewired to help reduce fire incidents.
We need to go out there to educate the public on fire safety and whatever. So as part of it, I think we are enforcing that. Let me say that New Jabin South, for some time now, has experienced rampant fires. And as a matter of agency, we have decided to take proactive measures by educating the masses on the do's and the don'ts of fire hazard. January to November, we have already recorded about 50 something, because we have industrial fires, bush fires, vehicular fires, and among the top has to do with domestic fires. And it's as a result of this overage of wiring. Most of the homes have never seen rewiring for over 25 years now. And ideally, that's every 25 years, every home must see rewiring. So those are some of the things.
New Jabin South Municipal Fire Commander DO2 Aite Brown Okwe.
Now, the National Democratic Congress, NDC, in the Ashanti region says former President John Dramani Mahama is expected to lead a public sensitization on the feasibility of the 24-hour economy next Thursday, December 21. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the party, Augustus Nana Akwesi Andrews, in an interview with Citi News, stated that the party is embarking on an awareness creation walk to explain the policy to inhabitants in the area. The party stresses that the policy is a game changer as special incentives will be given to provide an enabling environment for it to thrive.
The last 8 years or 7 years, the MPP brought the free SHS. And looking at how Ghanaian was talking about it, the media, everybody had it, and we were challenging it. Now the table has turned. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the nation builder, the one who thinks better for.
Speaking on the Ashanti Regional Minister's press conference on the state of health facilities in the region, the NDC regional chairman described it as a knee-jerk approach, as he believes the minister was compelled to come up with a statement because of the Asanteheni's intervention to help renovate the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital.
I would say that because of what our Ken did, that's why it has pushed him to do that press conference. Let's say that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama did various health facilities, and they've been in power for the past 7 years.
You heard the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Augustus Nana Akwesi Andrews.
And that's how we wrap up today's edition of Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio at Adabraka in Accra. For more news, visit citinewsroom.com. My name is Ajua Tinkrama Domina, and I did this with
Wilma Obobisa Coleman.
Have a good afternoon.
Citi 97.3. More variety.